It was a huge risk. It was very, very risky, especially going into an industry that was very unknown to the general public. It is something that's very new, and to be able to do that, it took guts.
This is Small Business Celebration, where we introduce you to successful small business owners at their place of business so that you can learn something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business and get your next big breakthrough. Welcome to another fantastic episode here on Small Business Celebration. We're going to be talking about engaging in nonprofits to elevate your business's visibility versus what your heart really wants to do. We're also going to be talking about how to guide your sales team and when to say no to a prospect. And to guide us through all this is Quon Louey, the founder of Telehealthdocs. Welcome to Small Business Celebration.
Well, it's a real pleasure to be here, Mike.
And for Visioneers who don't know who you are, who are you and what is it that you do?
My name is Quon Louey. I'm the founder and executive director of Telehealthdocs Medical Group.
The reason we're here talking with Quon is because he was ahead of the curve before the curve was cool. Yes, that's what he did. He was doing telemedicine way before COVID. And how, Quon, did you get involved in this in the first place?
I'm not a physician, even though most people think that I am.
Not Dr. Louey.
That's correct. That's correct. So let's just make sure that's clear. I'm more of a techie guy with a computer science degree from UCLA. As such, never thought I was ever going to get into the medical field. That just kind of happened by chance. I always thought of myself in Los Angeles, working for a aerospace company, changing the world in that sense. But somehow I was attracted to Bakersfield, got into the medical field and been in it ever since. You know, I had little carve-outs throughout the career, but majority of the times within the medical field.
What prompted you to get involved with telemedicine?
I believe around 2015, 2016, I worked for another group, and one of the challenges the state of California had was the inmate population. The prisons.
Right.
I believe at the time there was about 35 or so state prisons, and they're transporting these inmates to medical facilities, close to $100,000 plus per day, and that's just taxpayers' money.
Right.
So they had to come up with a solution. So I was part of a team working with Sacramento, and you know what? Let's figure out a way. Let's utilize technology. Remember, these are the days of dial-up. You know, the internet was just starting up. Yes, absolutely. And I was exactly right. So we would have to come up with this way of figuring out how can we treat inmates without transporting them. Hence, the first phase of telemedicine.
Okay, so let me get this straight. This is back in the day of tubed televisions.
Absolutely.
Dial-up internet.
That's correct.
How are you going to make this work? Because it's, you know, for us today, we just pull out our mobile phones and we talk bingo, it's a piece of cake. But back then,
we literally piecemealed this project of camcorder, tube TV. We had to bond, you know, these dial-up lines, you know. We had to get 12 lines into this archaic board.
Right.
And this board was able to get enough bandwidth to get one session. But within 6 months, we saw our first patient. So we kind of took that concept and then modernized it in the time of 2006. And I figured if we could do this for the inmate population, why can't we do this for the general public? That is the key thing. Why limit this delivery of care to just that? We can bridge the gap to the rural communities. 2011, Telehealthdocs came about. Got together with a physician partner. You know, naively, you know, as first-time business owner in the sense of running it.
Right.
We said, oh, it's going to take off just like that. You know, it's going to go for it. But as I found out, patients weren't easily adaptable. They're saying, I don't want to be seen by a screen. What is that? Even though it's very common today with FaceTime and everything else. And then the doctors were just very resistant.
Well, I can't touch the patient.
Can't touch them.
Right.
How do you treat them? I've gone through 20 years of
medical
school, and you always have to touch them in order to treat them. How are we going to get that personalized care?
Right.
Insurance companies, they were like, are you kidding me? This doesn't work.
Right.
You're Star Trek. You're so futuristic. You know, I don't think this is ever going to happen. So the first couple years was quite challenging, but I truly believed in it and stuck by it. And right before COVID, we grew to be one of the largest virtual medical groups in California, if not the West Coast. We grew to approximately, I believe, 60, 70 physicians from all over the country.
Right.
And lots of rural clinics up and down California.
How do you compete today when it's so commonplace? Because there's a lot of other companies that have taken your lead.
Absolutely.
Even though you're the one who went through and founded and created this technology, now you've got all this other competition about it. How do you compete against them?
Competition drives people to do better. It drives people to not be complacent. So I welcome that. There's enough for everybody. Overall, we all do good work. We just move towards vertical markets. We work with rural health. We have multiple specialties. I pull from my network from all over states. We even have physicians working for us from other countries. We have a neurologist from Romania.
Okay.
We have a psychiatrist from Peru. I mean, it's just word of mouth.
Right.
Word of mouth is the great part of marketing. We work with schools. We're going to be working with migrant farm workers. We're going to be working with rural health. Lots of many things, and a lot more things coming up.
If you're a business owner that's in a rural community,
Yes.
like Lake Isabella, for
Sure.
example, how do you find out if Telehealthdocs is a service that you may use?
So first of all, they have to check with their insurance company.
Okay.
So we would have to be contracted with the insurance company in order to provide the service for you.
Okay.
So people in Lake Isabella, for example, will just have to go to the local clinic that we have, assuming that we have their insurance plan, then we can take care of the services.
If a business owner wants to find out if their insurance covers that, do they just give you a call? Do they go on your website? How do they find out if their insurance plan allows this?
Well, first of all, on the business owner side, they would call their whatever the carrier is in their plan, and then find out if they have a contract with us. And that's the best way to find out. At this point in time, we're not dealing with a lot of employer groups. We're dealing with a lot of rural clinics.
Nice.
But they can do that as well.
So if a business owner wants to get involved, they just call up the local clinic in Isabella or Delano or
Yes.
wherever and find out.
And we're customizable. We can make decisions, move on the fly. We're very open. Not everybody's the same. We have multiple different types of customers. If a employer group says, you know what, we really want to utilize your network.
Right.
We like the way you do things. We like the way you handle your customer service. We'll work out a private plan just between us, and we'll make it happen.
What kinds of areas do you guys specialize in, or is there a wide variety?
We have a complete wide variety. We are a multi-specialty group. We can provide mental health, diabetes care. We have endocrinologists. We have rheumatologists. We have neurology. You name it, we have, I will say, about 15 or so specialties now, and about 80 physicians all throughout the United States and around the country. So we're able to pull the best from the best and be able to treat all of our members, whether it be Kern County and otherwise.
And if you're looking for a new home in a nice rural area and you're concerned about getting your telehealth and realize, yes, I can with Telehealthdocs, and you still want to go ahead and get that new house out there in the rural community, might I suggest you talk to Mike Saba, a Zillow Premier Agent with Watson Realty. Born and raised and never left Bakersfield, give Mike Saba a call at 661-203-8406 or reach him at mikesaba1@icloud.com today. And Visioneers, if you've got a question, you've got a thought, something you'd like to learn about here on Small Business Celebration, reach out to us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and your question could appear here on Small Business Celebration, just like Anthony, who asked, while it's clear that engaging with nonprofit organizations can enhance your company's brand visibility, how do you distinguish between a heartfelt initiative and one designed primarily for business promotion?
You've hit upon pretty much many things that I do on a daily basis.
Okay.
In addition, as a founder of Telehealthdocs Medical Group, I've been a longtime member of Bakersfield East Rotary Club.
Congratulations.
Which is a huge, heartfelt thing. Been in it close to 30 years. Can't believe
Wow.
it. Wow, exactly. Past president, assistant governor, now executive assistant governor.
Congratulations.
Currently. Thank you. I'm part of, we just recently this year chartered up the Kern County Asian Chamber of Commerce, which is a phenomenal group, nonprofit that we're in. In fact, it's Happy Lunar New Year currently this year, and it's going to happen this week.
Is this the year of the...
Year of the Snake.
Year of the Snake. And what's so significant about the Year of the Snake?
Lots to it. So just in a nutshell, just shows leadership, things like that. Different characteristics with different zodiac signs.
Why did you get involved with these organizations? Was it to help your business and its visibility, or were they more, projects of the heart?
Both. I said, when I first joined Rotary, 30 years or so ago,
Right.
It was just more of, what is this club?
Right.
What is it doing? And in a very short period of time, come to find out the core of Rotary is our classifications. Where else are you going to meet an accountant? Where else are you going to meet a reporter? Where else are you going to meet everybody with this different jobs, occupations and things like that? So that turned into, We can promote the businesses we're in, things like it's very business oriented. But then it grew to more of a family, grew to the mission of what can we do to help not just the community, but the world?
Right.
How do we rid the world of polio, for example? Not the government, nothing political. Rotary is out there to solve the world's problems.
Why did you choose to help start the Bakersfield Asian Chamber of Commerce?
Wow, that's actually a passion of mine. A previous role, I was the president of the Chinese American Association of Kern County.
Right.
It was a 2-year term that turned into, I believe, 7 or 8 years. These nonprofits,
Sure.
After 2 years, you want to get out and you pass it on, but no, you got to continue, but
Right.
so forth. Started with that, and
Did this start because you were saying, I need to promote the business?
no, not at all. This turned out to be many Asians in the community. There's not very many, I believe about 5% of the population. They saw me as a leader in this field, and they wanted me to lead them. Many of the seniors, and they're very running things very old school, as I call it,
Right.
and so forth. They need some new blood to bring in the new things. Introduce them to social media.
Right.
Introduce them to some of the newer things that they were able to pivot and grow. So we're highly successful in that, and then after that, after 7 or 8 years, I had to slow down on that because obviously all this volunteer. During that time, I was thinking behind my mind is, we're just the Chinese Association. What about all the other Asians?
Right.
Why can't we group together and form something larger and form a chamber to be ambassadors for this segment of the population? Because we have many other chambers that we support. We support the Hispanic Chamber, Black Chamber, the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce. Wonderful organizations. But who represents the Asian population?
Right.
Whether it be Indians, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, whatever. It doesn't really matter. So it turned into a passion. So I was able to contact a few of my friends, had a small discussion, and here we are today.
Has Telehealthdocs benefited from the creation of this chamber?
I would say indirectly.
Okay.
Because we're out there, we're representing businesses. Telehealthdocs is a business, it's an Asian-owned business, so why not? Do the social media marketing. They would introduce myself as the vice president, but also the owner and founder of Telehealthdocs. So yes, indirectly it does help the business, whether it be in terms of getting more patients or not necessarily, but just the branding of it, just to get us known out there, to make us synonymous with this delivery of care.
You are not Dr. Louey.
Unfortunately.
Has this been a problem when you've been approaching physicians for the service?
Yes, it has actually. In the very beginning stages, it was just more like, you're not a physician, you're not a doctor, you're not a physician, how would you know?
Right.
Well, you're absolutely correct, doctor, but I manage a network of physicians.
Right.
So I learn very much from them. That's correct. I cannot personally treat physicians. I would never interrupt in that sense. But in business, I've learned to surround yourself with the smartest people.
Right.
You don't have to be the smartest person in the room, but if you surround yourself with smart people, and I do that with physicians, the best around in our network, I get to learn from them. So is there a barrier? Yes. But I take that barrier and turn it into a goal. I don't have to be a physician to treat patients. And throughout the years, I've developed processes that have saved lives. And that turned into a personal thing where, wow, being a non-physician and be able to save somebody's life, to make their life better, to create wellness for them, why not?
And that brings us to the Visioneer Game. And Visioneers, if you're not familiar with the way the game works, I have a random word generator here on my phone. I have no idea what words this generator is going to create, but more importantly, neither does our guest. And our guest has to take each of 3 words that I give him and somehow associate each word with his business. Now, Quon, you do realize that the fate of the entire telehealth industry is based on your ability to get these 3 words correct.
Wow, what pressure.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, your first word is royalty.
Royalty. Boy, I wish I was getting royalty for every visit we've done since the very beginning. I'd be a very rich man.
Very good. Congratulations, you got the first word.
I've been doing this thing for a long time.
If I had a nickel for every...
Yes, absolutely. I wish I was able to get a little bit of royalty since I was one of the first to do this back in the day.
All right, your second word is pepper.
Pepper. Pepper is a really cool spice that goes with salt.
Right?
Pepper is a spice, which enhances the flavor of this industry. So it gives us a little kick, I believe, with telehealth, especially Telehealthdocs Medical Group, that we're able to spice up the industry with our delivery of care. With pepper, of course.
Very good. There we go. That's 2 for 2. All right. Your third word. You do realize it all comes down to this.
Okay.
Legend.
We believe that our group, Telehealthdocs Medical Group, is a legend in this industry.
Nice.
There is no doubt in my mind. We may not be the first. We're definitely not going to be the last. But we would definitely are legend status when it comes to telehealth.
That's 3 for 3. The world of telehealth is safe at last.
There you go.
One of the things I found fascinating, and Visioneers, I try to do a little bit, at least a modicum, of research on the guest before we actually do the conversation. And I went to your LinkedIn page. And one of the things I noticed is you don't call yourself the owner, and
That's
you
correct.
don't call yourself the founder.
That's correct.
What do you call yourself?
I grew up on a farm back in Oxnard.
Okay.
Eldest of 5, immigrant parents, first in my family in the Louey side to go to university. It's just one of those things where, you know what? Anybody can be president, right? Anybody can be. If you see a president on a card, unless they're one big organization, they could be a staff of 1 or 2. I like to take the humble approach. Whenever we talk to physicians and whenever we talk to people, they say, whoa, why don't you have your staff do it? Well, I like to handpick my doctors. But you're the owner, you're the founder. Yes, but I'm really the executive director, you know.
Right.
And I like to take the humble approach because when they find out that you're the president, their demeanor may be a little different. They may approach the situation a little different. You're not as approachable, you know, per se. I want them to be comfortable around me, to be able to speak freely so that we can take that feedback and make the company better.
How has not being the owner or the president been a detriment?
Well, in the early days, physicians like to work with their peers, and rightfully so. They've gone to medical school, they've done through all this education, providing a phenomenal service. And when you're not a physician, they tend to think of you as not knowing the industry. They say, oh, but you're not a physician, why should I join your group? Why should I do this? I said, because I have other physicians that have and were highly successful, and we can make you successful.
You mentioned you grew up on a farm.
Yes.
What did your childhood on a farm teach you that you apply to Telehealthdocs?
Just keep on working hard and smart. In a farm, there are no seasons, there are no days off. You just grind, and you do whatever it takes. And that's what I took on more than anything in starting a business. Because people say, oh, you've been in your office 12 hours. Isn't that tough? I said, you don't know what hard work is until you work the farm.
And that brings us to our second Visioneer question, which is also brought to you by Mike Saba, a Zillow Premier agent with Watson Realty selling Bakersfield homes since 1992. Give Mike Saba a call at 661-203-8406 or reach him at mikesaba1@icloud.com today. Visioneer Zena asks, we have recently welcomed a new member to our sales team whose forte is engaging potential clients. How can we guide our sales team in politely declining comments who don't meet the necessary criteria, even though the salesperson is eager to close the deal? In other words, how do you give the salesperson permission to say no?
So we've had many scenarios. We've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of providers to join us, but we're very selective. There have been situations where a physician says, boy, we can make so much money together, we can do this and that together.
We can see 100 patients a day.
We can see all these patients per hour,
right.
And the logic just didn't make sense. So I just, we went through, I was very respectful, we go through the whole interviewing process, and my comment was, that's phenomenal, I'm glad you do what you do to help people in your community, but we're just not a good fit. Oh boy, was he furious, because he's used to people doing everything he says.
And this could have brought you a lot of money.
Absolutely. I mean, he's saying that he can see 10, 15 patients an hour, whatever he said, I forget.
Wow.
But to me, that doesn't follow the standard of care. We follow the standard of care. We want to make sure that we have quality, not necessarily quantity.
One of the things you mentioned is process. What is your process for accepting or rejecting a new doctor or a new health group?
When I speak with a provider, we follow, I'm doing this long enough that I can tell what their intentions are. If their intention is that they're too busy and I don't feel that they can give the type of quality that we can serve our patients, then I just don't feel it's a good fit. But overall, how do we distinguish it? Basically do the credentials, talk to their peers, talk to just people in general, and more than anything, a gut feeling. Just in speaking with them, you kind of get that intuition where, you know what, this will be a good fit. They're just not telling me what I want to hear, but I'll give them questions like, how do you handle these certain situations? And no answer is the same. There's no right answer, but how do they handle a situation? If I feel their intention is truly to create the wellness of the patient, follow standard of care. Don't cheat, don't cut corners. Just do what you've been trained to do and we'll be just fine.
How do you reconcile with the salesperson or the business owner for that matter when you have more month than money? How did you sit there and reconcile and say, you know what, this customer could bring in a lot of money for us, but they're not a right fit, but boy, do I need the money. How did you reconcile that?
That's a very good balance. I mean, it's called the balance of what I can live with. In the sense of, there have been situations where, boy, this could be a huge windfall for the company.
Right.
But it was by design that we would float the company, meaning myself, and believe in it. Because I know this was going to work. So I've been saved up for that.
Oh, so you saved up revenue.
Absolutely. We saved up revenue, and I was just saying, you know what? This was savings. I truly believe in this. And it was a joint decision. I couldn't do this without my wife, obviously. I had a very comfortable position, making a great salary, benefits, and so forth. My kids were just about to start college. And here I am saying, hey, honey, I'm going to start off on my own. Our revenue is going to be dramatically cut, and our expenses are going to double. So that being said, it was a huge risk. It was very, very risky, especially going into an industry that was very unknown to the general public. It wasn't something that you just open up a brick and mortar. It is something that's very new, and to be able to do that, it took guts. In retrospect, I don't know why I did it. I just believed in it. And if you believe, I think you can accomplish anything.
How did you convince your wife that this was a good thing?
My wife is extremely special. We were college sweethearts. When we met at UCLA, my son went to UCLA, so it's true belief. It's believing in my vision and knowing that I have a plan B. I'm employable, I feel. I can try it for a couple of years, and if I can't get this thing going in 2 to 3 years, my contingency plan is I can be employed by somebody. But it was very risky. I absolutely, with my son starting college and price going up, you know what? It's okay. We'll always have a roof over our head. We're always going to have food on the table. We don't need a lot of things. That's okay. Let's try it out. At least I tried. And if it's successful, which I believe it is, phenomenal. If it's not, I did it. It's okay. We'll try something else.
It's no secret that there's a lot of business owners that are struggling right now. What do you say to the business owner out there and encourage them and let them know that not all hope is lost?
Believe, 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 but always have a contingency plan. Be a realist. In other words, you believe in something, try it out, because you don't want to go through life saying, gosh, if I have only done that. And then next thing 10 years have passed, 20 years have passed, right? But if you believe, try it out, give yourself some milestones. Say, hey, let me try this for a year. Is it financially sustainable? And if it's sustainable, great, try it on another year. If not, have a plan B. If I can't do this, at least I tried. At least I can go through life saying, I've tried it. There should be no regret going from there. But believe in your concept, believe in your business, no matter what that may be, and I think you could succeed.
Quon, this has been a real treat. Thank you for joining us here on Small Business Celebration.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you. I'd love to do it again sometime soon.
And if Visioneers want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
They can get hold of us via our website, telehealthdocs.com, telehealthdocs.com, or contact us at 840-9270.
Social media?
We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, you name it, we would be there. And hopefully from this experience, we'll have a YouTube channel.
And I'll be right back with my final thought. Why you should help get the other person to start saying yes immediately. Why you should get the other person saying yes immediately. My parents are retired high school educators, and they explained to me a long time ago that one of the reasons they chose to teach high school students over elementary school students is that with high school students you can reason with them, whereas elementary school students, not so much. And many of our extended family members teach elementary school, and this philosophical difference was put on full display many years ago at the annual Roberts Christmas dinner party. And this one particular year, my cousin had just gotten married, and his new bride was joining us. And as she stood at the buffet line with her plate in hand, looking at the sea of food and desserts that all the different family members had brought to contribute for the evening, she made her way down the table and got to the dessert section. More specifically, all the cookies that our family is infamous for. And one of my extended family members, who's an elementary school teacher, came up to her and said, "Oh, you have got to try one of my cookies. They're delicious." And the new bride smiled and said, "Yeah, but I'm trying to watch my figure. It is the holiday season after all." Unrelenting, the educator said, "Yeah, but they're green and red and sparkly and all kinds of pretty." And she said, "Yeah, but," and the bride said, "Yeah, but I'm not really into sparkly." Unrelented, the educator said, "Yes, but they're absolutely fabulous and delicious and you'll just absolutely love them." And the bride paused and smiled and said, "Well, how about on the second round when I've finished everything on my plate?" To which the educator nodded and wandered off. 2 steps later, she came upon my mother, and before her were her plate of cookies. And my mother took a look at her and said, "I notice you're wearing a lot of white. Is white one of your favorite colors?" And the bride said, "Well, yes, it is." And my mom said, "Oh, well, you've got to try one of these meringue cookies. They're absolutely delicious." And the bride said, "Well, I'm still trying to hold off on my weight." And my mom said, "That's okay. The great thing about meringue cookies is that they got little tiny chocolate chips in it. And you like chocolate, right?" "Well, yeah. Well, they're not nearly as fattening because the chips are tiny." "Oh, really?" And she said, "Not only that, but inside the meringue cookie, it's mostly air inside. So, when you bite into it, you're not going to eat a lot of calories." And the bride said, "Really?" And she said, "Not only that, it's Christmas. Every time a cookie opens and breaks open, all the calories fall out." To which the bride laughed, picked up one of the cookies, bit into it, and went, "Oh, this is good." To which my mom smiled, and the bride quietly took a couple more cookies off the plate and wandered away. And my mom's face just glowed. Why? Because she had gotten the other person to start saying yes immediately. I hope you enjoyed our conversation here on Small Business Celebration, and I hope you learned something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business. And we'll see you here again next week when we celebrate another small business making a big breakthrough.
A practitioner can see usually about 4 to 5 patients, just like their normal practice. Nothing changes. So it's very transparent as to whatever they run in their normal practice, they would do telehealth. Telehealth is just the delivery of care. Everything should be practically the same. So if they're used to seeing 1 to 2 patients an hour, then they should follow the same practice. If their specialty requires them to see more, if they're just reviewing labs, whatever the case may be, which can allow them to see more, then they should do so. Same thing with telemedicine. Why do we waste a physician's time in travel when he could be utilizing his skills treating patients? What do they do best? They treat patients. They went to school to treat patients. They didn't go to school to run a business. That's what I'm here for. So they can do what they do best and we can do what we do best, and together we make the world a better place. So think of it like you're video conferencing today. You Zoom with a family member or with a friend, or utilize FaceTime. We utilize that same concept with physicians. We would use a very HIPAA-compliant, security-based system for the delivery of care, but the physician could be 10 miles away or 10,000 miles away. It doesn't make a difference. They show up for your appointment, so you would come and visit us, whether that be your home, one of our satellite locations, wherever the case may be. Contracted locations like in a rural city. You go to the location, you go into an exam room just like you would your normal doctor's office, and instead of a doctor knocking on the door and coming in with a medical record or a laptop, they show up on the screen. The most common thing practitioners see online is mental health, because mental health does not require additional scopes. It just requires a camera, something as quickly as a video conference. It's been phenomenal for the mental health field because it's so highly needed, especially in today's time. The most interesting thing was we're dealing with a patient. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia. Afterwards, we did a survey. Hey, how did you enjoy it? This was phenomenal. I couldn't believe I can seek the care, but how did you get the doctor in the screen? And he's looking behind the screen and everything. And I'm like, and I kind of looked at him a little weird, and the doctor looked at me. Well, don't worry, we can do magic here at Telehealthdocs. And he's like, oh, wow, you can shrink them and put them in the screen and shoot them over to me? I said, sir, we do whatever we can to treat you. They can do this from the comfort of their home. Now, I have to state that prior to COVID, that was not legal. COVID opened up and closed down many of the barriers for the telehealth industry. That's one of the main benefits, was that part of that, you had all these restrictions, all these barriers, and so very few of us can even get into this industry, but we were able to do so. Because of COVID, they took all those barriers down. So with that being said, now we can treat them at the home. We still believe that as an initial visit that you should come into the clinic, get your vitals set, and so forth. Establish that first encounter, and then all follow-ups can be done by home. But obviously we can't force you. If you want to be treated at home, we can do that as well. The number one thing a physician doesn't want to hear, you got advice from Google? Even though I'm a big technology guy, it's like, okay, I've had years and years of training, and now you're believing Google. That somebody says this and says that, and you take that as fact.